Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's William Bootsy Blandon. Okay, in this video, I'm going to give you guys the example of the power of the holding company. Because a lot of people don't get it. I don't think some of you get it. Some of you really don't fucking get it. The power of a well-structured holding company. And I'm going to give you an example of somebody I personally know. This person just happens to be the brother of my kid's mom. So he's like family. This guy's doing well for himself. He works at a car dealership. By now, he's probably like manager level. He's been in the car business for a long time, selling cars. He probably makes, even though he's in the car business, just sales, he probably worked his way up to where he's making close to six figures. If I were to guess, he probably brings home like $80K a year. And then, it doesn't stop there. He married a woman that also has a great job. I want to say she's in the accounting field. Matter of fact, she helped my daughter get into their agency where she works at. So, not that matters, I'm just saying. So, between the two of them, they easily make, but probably before tax, probably 200K. Probably after tax, maybe 150K. Mind you, now he's manager level at his job, so he sees, they go to the car auction. He sees all the prices, like the lowest prices, because he's getting that list. Here's how he can create a super powerful holding company that can take him and his wife to millionaire status in 1 year. Now, walk with me. He has access to the car buying list. There's nothing against the rules that says he can't personally buy his own cars. He could set up a LLC. He doesn't need the anonymity. It's a LLC. He could put both him and his wife on the documents, because she's going to get half anyway. He's married, you know. He can actually start buying the vehicles under his own LLC at rock bottom prices. Now, there might be somewhere in the rules where he can't resell the cars, because that kind of conflicts with his business at work. But you got to remember, it's an LLC. Technically, because it's him and his wife, and it's under an LLC, under a name that they don't even know, even if there's a rule against it, it's not him. He's not breaking a rule. He personally is not buying the cars. His LLC is buying the cars. And he can send his wife down to make the purchases under the LLC. You see where I'm going? So now he can purchase these cars, either rent them out at a great price, if they're luxury cars or whatever, or even resell them on the side, just so she don't clash or anything with the business he's in. I say rent the vehicles out. Remember, he's getting the lowest prices because he's seeing them when they come in. He can get the best prices. And he has the maintenance, because he can have the car's maintenance at where he works. I don't believe there's nothing in the rules saying he can't do this. Now, he get about 10 cars. He's renting them out. You see how he just leveled up? And now, because he has a LLC, there's so many write-offs, he's saving in taxes now. Now him and his wife make over 50K a year with that new LLC. Not only will they have write-offs, but they will have like the motherload write-offs. Like they can write off their personal car expenses. They can write off, gas. They can get gas cards with this. This is going to save them in taxes. They make over $50K a year. They can also convert this now to an S corp. So now you got an S corp. Him and his wife can be on one S corp. They're saving in taxes now. Now they can actually go in and create. Let's say his wife want to do something. You know, she just decided she want to do a hair salon. You would take now your S corp and create a baby company to do the separately to do the hair salon, but owned by the S corp. You're gonna take a paycheck, even if she starts making money with the hair salon. She's not gonna take a paycheck. Most of the money is gonna go back into the business, and then whatever she would have took for a paycheck, she's gonna send up to the S corp. Keep in mind, they're gonna get the mother load of exemptions. At this point, I wouldn't even recommend he keep his own car in his own personal name. Put it in the S corp. You know, they have a personal office space. Put that in the S corp. They can even hire their kids. They can create a separate either entity or just a sole proprietorship under the S corp and even pay them kids. They got like, how many kids he got? He got an older daughter that's close to my daughter's age, and he got 3 other younger daughters. So he got like 4 daughters. The older daughter's good. She's already out of the house. So he's got like 3 young daughters that he could put on payroll, the teenagers, but you're allowed to pay your teenagers. And it's going to even save on taxes on them, because I believe it's under 12K or something like that. You don't even have to pay tax on that. What do you pay them out? You can write a, like a sole proprietor, not a sole proprietor. He could do it, set it up like they're independent contractors and pay them that way, because they're not going to owe any tax. The possibilities are endless. Disclaimer, I am not a financial professional, tax professional, or any of this stuff. Just for entertainment purposes. This is knowledge I'm gaining as an entrepreneur. And I'm also consulting with real professionals. So it's not like I'm not double checking some of this stuff. And I remember I had a smart aleck person chime in on one of my videos, and she said, I don't know what I'm talking about, because I guess I was criticizing something about Glendon Cameron, because nothing can own a S corporation. There is one entity that can own a S corporation, because usually it has to be you or your wife that owns S corporation, but there's one entity that can own a S corporation, and that's your living trust. Your living trust can own the shares or control the S corp, so essentially it owns it. But that S corp can be a holding company. And then when you start branching out and doing other companies, you just gave more value to that initial holding company. So that holding company is super powerful. And because it's an S corp, you're going to save in all types of money on your taxes. And another thing, the baby companies, you don't have to file taxes on those. Those are pass-through entities. And because ownership passes up to that S corp holding company, you're only going to pay taxes from the S corp holding company, which if you have it under a living trust, it would flow down to your living trust, and you would pay taxes from the living trust. So there will be separate tax returns for your holding companies, but any baby companies under your holding companies, you will not be paying tax on. And some accountants, and believe it or not, local CPAs and accountants and tax professionals, they don't know this stuff. So you're like wasting your time going to ask them. These are like the higher end real estate professionals, mostly based out of California, that know this stuff, where you can actually walk in their office and they know this stuff. I'm in Connecticut. The average tax professional, this is above their understanding of the power of a holding company. If you walked into a tax professional office and said, I want to set up a holding company, number one, someone might say, I don't know what that is. And they're going to say all you need is an LLC, which don't confuse the two. The beginning stages of the holding company is just setting up an entity, whether it be a C Corp or LLC. That's the beginning stages. And don't get caught up in S Corp and C Corp. Those are just tax elections, guys. You start by setting up. Some people be like chiming in and be like, when are you going to tell us how to set up a holding company? I've been telling you over and over and over and over and over. You set up a basic LLC. You don't tell these tax professionals you're setting up a holding company. You don't do that. You walk in, you say, structure me an LLC. I'm telling you in this video. From that point, once you have your regular LLC in your state, don't make it complicated. Now, if you want something that's shielding your assets, you're probably not going to be able to go to your local people to set this entity up. And I have ways around that. That's why you come to me. But this is how you set up your holding company. Because a lot of you keep telling me I'm not telling you how to set up a holding company. You have that professional set you up a basic LLC in your state. Number one, they're going to charge you too much. But besides that, you haven't set that up. That essentially becomes your holding companies, once you have enough in revenue to start baby companies. That's all it is, guys. It's not that complicated. It only becomes more complicated when you want the anonymity, because you have to go to Wyoming or Delaware or some place that's going to shield your liabilities. But you don't have to do that. If you want to make this an S Corp, I'm going to recommend you keep it in your state. And it's still protecting you against some liability, because that holding company, even though it's in your state, it's not likely to be sued if you don't do business with the general public. That's another thing. You're setting up the first company to not do business with the general public. Now, in that first example with my family member that does the car business, I skipped a step because I didn't tell you that after he set up that initial entity, when they actually go get ready to start buying cars, they set up a baby company underneath their now formed S Corp. And you keep a small operating amount in the operating company, but you send the bulk of the money back up to the holding company, because that's where they get their paychecks. And truth be told, at the bracket level that he's at, he won't have to even touch the money for at least a year. So now that took them from middle class status, because I would, a couple right now, especially in a pandemic, making over $50K after taxes, pretty much puts him in middle class status. Now it takes him to being wealthy with just that transaction of setting up a holding company and doing some type of business transaction to give him more revenue. So now he has his first operating company. The operating company is actually what is doing the car rental stuff. So if the car rental business gets sued, the liability is not directly on the holding company, even though it's, say, in Connecticut, because they live here in Connecticut. So you don't have to have the anonymity. You still got that layer of protection because it's another company that owns it. They're only going to sue the first company. And with something like a car rental business, you have to have the necessary insurances for that stuff anyway. So it's not likely your holding company is going to get sued, even though it's in a state where you don't have the anonymity. Now, when I do the residential, not the residential, commercial, when I go in and set up a holding company for commercial real estate, I'm actually going to set up that entity in Delaware, and then that is actually tax election going to be a partnership. And that's because the way of partnerships, I like it where it don't show all the houses listed on my personal tax return. That's why it's going to be under a holding company partnership that's going to own the LLCs that actually own each commercial property. Layers, guys, layers. I love layers. Why am I doing all this? Because when you get into commercial, the likelihood of you getting into a lawsuit, very high. Very high. But now the Blandrake, the company I'm setting up, will hopefully eventually be an S Corp. But there's very little liability because it's only going to own some YouTube channels. You know, it's not, I don't think the likelihood of me getting a lawsuit is very rare, but it's just going to really own my YouTube stuff, all my media stuff. You know, and then if I branch off and say I was going to do like a music company, I would branch off and do a baby company under my media company, such and such entertainment, under that. I would not directly put Blandrake as the entertainment company. Layers. As long as you have layers, the holding company in any state is going to be helpful. When I get into real estate is when I want the anonymity on the holding company. So my original holding company I have in Navy Federal right now, that might own some residential property in the future. Or a baby company that's going to own some residential property. And it's a C Corp. I was originally going to make it S Corp, but I realized your S Corp really truly should be in the state you live in. There's some reasons why, but again, I'm not a tax professional, and you can contact your tax professional around the corner, and he's going to say this is a scam because they don't understand it. But contact some of these crafty, higher end law firms in California. They're gonna be like, no, he might be presenting it, in a ghetto way, but no, he's basically right. So some of that stuff Bandman Kevo says and Rich Wayne says is true. Like with the stuff with the Shelf Corp. The Shelf Corp, if you bought it and it's at 2 years, you still need the other components, really. You still need the person with the good credit. You still got to build up. You still got to put some money in an account for at least 3 months so you have the bank statements. You're still going to have to get somebody to file your tax returns for the 2 years. So they're going to have to create something, financials they're going to have to create. It's not just about the Shelf Corp. There's layers to this. But the power of a well-structured holding company, guys, can change your life. Can change your life. And if you get obsessed like me, you're going to end up with more than one holding company. Guaranteed. I'm obsessed. I already, in my mindset, I already have like 3 holding companies in mind and about 6 baby companies under those 3 holding companies. At least 6 I got in mind. And ways to put revenue in them legally. This is how my mind works right now. And then with this crypto game and the technology ideas I got coming and the nonprofit ideas I got coming, those 2 ideas alone could probably have me busy, honestly, guys, for the next 3 years. Because even though I talk like this stuff is going to happen tomorrow, literally we could be talking about a year in between creating the nonprofit and the technology company. We could be talking about a whole nother year. Will it be worth the wait? Yes. Because by the time I get done with just those 2 things, never mind all the little stuff like the car rental stuff and the Airbnb, that won't be anything compared to these. These will be $1 million businesses if I do them right. The key is I have to do them right. But I don't necessarily need a lot of people because I'm using my own corporate credit to bring in more revenue to make all this go. So it's not going to happen tomorrow. I don't want to, I know Glenn is on there crying about people keep saying, just do this and boom, you'll be rich. It's not going to happen that way. Guys, it took me a whole year and a half so far for my holding company I have right now. I'm about a year and a half in. I'm about a year and a half old right now. And I let it season for a whole year. In Navy Federal. Just literally building the relationship for a whole year. What was I doing? I was Uber driving. And I'm not going to act like this stuff is easy. It's not easy. If I didn't get this SBA funding, guys, I'd still be out there like this, just driving some beat up car, trying to make ends meet. But thanks to having SBA funding, I'm able to survive in a pandemic and build a new skill, which is creating more content to give to you nice people. I wasn't just sitting around. I was building a new skill. I was like, let me figure out how I can get some more content out to the masses, get you guys to, I don't sell you anything. I just show you what I'm doing. If you guys don't buy anything, when I say go to the links below, and you guys don't buy, you don't do anything, I'm still going to sleep good at night because I'm not selling you anything. I'm showing you what's possible when you get into a company like World Crypto Life and in 6 months change your fucking life. You hear what I'm saying? I'm not trying to sell you on that. You either in or you out. It ain't going to hurt me either way. But the possibilities are endless with a well-structured holding company, a few $1,000s. It don't even have to be your money. Like Rich Wayne said, he's pulling bums out the street. That's too much. But I'm sure some of you got a girlfriend, you got a sister, you got a brother. Put your heads together. Even though I told you the bad story with me and my brother, not every family's the same. Put your heads together when you got good credit, when you got some cash, and build a holding company and change your life. And start building a legacy for you and your family. That's all I'm trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do here on this channel. So if you want to support that, subscribe, like, comment, check those links below, hit that bell icon, and I'll see you next video.